Welcome, my festive friends. My name is Emmy, and you're on the Zen with Emmy channel. I am a CZT, class of 14, which means I've been a certified teacher for 10 years. I was delighted to be able to go to Rhode Island and study with Rick and Maria, who are the founders of Zentangle, and it's been around for 20 years. So what a wonderful gift this has been. So I'd like you to grab your supplies because I promised you that we would extend the card we made last time with color. And to do that, I'd like you to get any version of these you can, or go with your own colors. By all means, you don't have to do my colors. One thing I'd also ask you to have on hand is a sharpener. We will need that, and you'll need to have your pencils as sharp as you possibly can. That will and so keep that sharpener handy. I will also want a couple of pens, just because there's some tiny little places. Now I could do color pencil in there, but I prefer to use some color pencil or pens of any sort. Just the finer the point, the better. Sharpies are fine, whatever you have on hand. And one last thing before we get started, make sure you have a copy of this. So one way or another, even if you just have to snap it on your phone and then go to your friend's house or whatever, so that you can make a copy so that you have more available to you, because you might want to change your color scheme. So this is the one that I did when I was getting ready for our class. I did this with you, and then after that I went ahead and did this last night before in the last couple of days. So this is the basic one that I'm going to use. And like I said, you're welcome to do any color scheme you want besides, and what I'm going to show you is mostly technique. So before we get started with our technique, I would like to give you a little bit of a heads up about our color pencils. And that's assuming that you don't know, so just keep sharpening or working as you choose. But on my paper, I am going to grab one of my color pencils. And there is a basic technique that you want to be aware of, just because we always do. We usually, in Zentangle, in color pencil land, we go in circular motion, kind of a small, sweet little circle. And I am pushing very lightly. Now in my pen set, in this particular color, I can do 3 colors by soft pressure, medium pressure, and really, really, really hard pressure. The more color I get on here, the more I'm able to push it around as well. So that also matters. And obviously I have a little bit of a surface under here, so this might be looking a little strange to you. But the white will come in handy, whether you choose to use chalk or whether you are using your white Prisma or whatever white blender you have. That's really what I'm going to use the white for tonight or today, whenever you're watching this. So grab your paper, and I'm going to start with my tree. And it's easiest for me to turn my tree around as I work, but especially for this, I want to do all of the boughs, and I want to do them all in circular motion. And you see that I have my I've already done my pencil and my blending, so that is really going to aid me. And I'm working very softly, just getting a color wash on, and I'm not getting anything on those sweet little auras that I made. But if you want to do that, this is your paper and your project and your gift to whomever, including yourself. I have some friends who, after a class, they go home and they have a little easel that they put their finished project on to look at and admire for the week. So I'm able to get in my little divots a lot easier by having my pencil very, very, very sharp. And this is smooth paper that I used for this project, so that really helps here too. This is kind of what you would call a Bristol, about 100 weight. But cardstock works fine too, and I've made plenty of cards with cardstock and along the way here. Just keep your work as close to you as you can. Keep the circular motion going. And I need to turn back and get a little more in here. Just get a wash on here real fast and easy. And I am trying to be a little bit careful because I don't want those auras to have too much of this green, unless, you know, unless that's the only way they can. Light pressure, a little bit as you want. It's the biggest part of our project here, is this sweet little tree. Now, if you're like me, your shoulders are hunched and my tongue is on the roof of my mouth. So try to take a breath, get your zen. And if you happen to have a second color green, grab it now, please. I am very lucky that I have a very dark green. So I'm going to start with that, and I only want to go in the top of each of these little crescents. You see, I'm not really going in the bottom, so it's going to be a little bit harder to do a circular motion on this particular part. I want it to have the illusion of going underneath. So I want to get those 3 whiskers for sure, or however many you made. And I want to get close to the edge. And I hope that you can tell I'm just pushing. I'm really pushing my color pencil. I love color. I just love it. I am so glad I'm not colorblind. That is something I'm grateful for. And all of our gratitudes we had this past month together. There's many things to be grateful for. Trying to work as long as I can on this one side before I have to turn this. For some reason it feels to me a little easier. These are getting a little bigger now, these crescents, so I'm able to work up close, but I'm also able to spread that green down a little bit further now and out a little bit further, and still keeping that lighter green that I had. And I always keep scrap paper handy, and I'm sure you do too, so that I can practice these colors and these blending things. And whoop, look at that. Well, no, I can't do it now. Once you've started with color pencil, at least as far as the Prisma pencils go, you can't lay your pen on top of it anymore. At least you can't lay your, excuse me, my Sakura micron pens cannot be laid on top of this waxy stuff, because it'll clog them up and you'll never be able to use them again. And how sad would that be? There is a technique or two that I have seen online to help you unclog it should it happen to you. But once you've started with Prismacolors, you're far better off to go to a different kind of pen to go over some of these areas that have Prisma on them. Now, if you're not using Prisma, it might not matter, but I'd still urge you to be real careful. I don't think color is a rush job, so I am not rushing this, but I am working quickly, knowing that you have a life and you have things you want to do. So I am going to go with my white next. And again, it's super sharp too. And I'm going to push the colors together. And I can do that with the white and the green. The white will let me. See how it pushes it? So it becomes actually a whole different color. It no longer is just dark or just light. Now I can go over these as many times as I want. So please know that if you want to add a little more of the dark green or the light green, you can. You can go over them and over them and over them. And then eventually you will maybe have a wax bloom, maybe. Kind of depends on where you live, and I wouldn't even worry about that. But there is a point of saturation is what I'm truly trying to get through to you and share with you. Do you ever find it's hard to do two things at once? One time? Sometimes I just do too much talking. And so as we're working here, I will put some music on here in a minute. Oh, I just think this is so pretty, the way it's blending together. Pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing these colors into each other. And I am working pretty heavy-handed with my white. And you see I'm not doing as much circular motion in this tiny area as I prefer to, and I suggested to you that you probably would also like to do, because that helps get the color into the paper better. Circular motion does. Ooh, is this pretty? Now, if I had time, I tell you quite honestly, I would go over this a couple more times, but I do think it's quite gorgeous as it is. So I am going to do something with this stump, and I want to do orange on the stump, and then I'm also going to use a little bit of a gray that's also got brown in it. So use whatever you want, whatever you have handy. Again, kind of a circular motion, and I'm going kind of uptight on this stalk or stump. And then I'm going to blend the two together again. I'm going to blend the orangey shade with this grayish darker shade. And this, I have a bigger surface than I did before, so this is going to go real well for me, I think. If you're using a brown, that's going to work out a little different for you, and I know it's going to be really cool, so have faith in yourself. And I think I've got quite enough on here. So the next thing I'm going to do is try to pull some of that orange back out in a new way by going round and round. See how that pulls that out again now? By pushing that color around. Oh my gosh, that's pretty. I hope you like it as much as I do. Okay, I have double duty for the gray. I'm going to be able to use it up in these pretty, the pattern is called Ah. And I did not, on this one, put my whiskers. And I want my whiskers. Keep my work in front of me. This was a smaller one, remember? Very nice. There. Now that I've got that, let's go back to where I was before. Okay, I want to push to lay some of this gray on here as a base. Working very lightly with the gray. I'm not trying to be too heavy-handed here. And then I'm going to get a true gray, the slate gray, because I happen to have it. So I'm going to use that next and blend these two together. Again, I'm working very, very lightly, very lightly. Going over the gray with kind of this blue gray. So if you have a blue instead, use that. Grab your blue. Put me on pause anytime you need to so that you can sharpen things or make them more what you are looking for. Oh my goodness, this is so pretty. I hope you're real happy with yours too. So you might decide you want these beautiful stars to be a gold and have some gold in them. That would be gorgeous too. Great. Now I want to lay a little bit of the white to push the color out again. That goes real fast on a pattern like this. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. Okay, enjoying this very much, this process with you. So I wanted my star at the top to have both the orange in it, and I also wanted it to have a little bit of the gold in it. So we're going to see how this comes because I only brought this one to the table today. So I'm going to lay that orange on here. Kind of a goldish orange, and do the same kind of push it out like I did before. Bit of circular motion, but I'm really trying to get that color out into the paper. This is going to be a very special present for somebody. Soften that a bit with your white. Smudge it around. Oh, this is just beautiful. Okay, so when I've got these things done, I want to lay in my background and see what I did on my sample. So what I'm going to do first is go over all of it with a light blue, and then I'm going to start deepening around the edges. See how they're deeper? And all around the edges. So grab whatever light blue you have, the lightest you have, working very much on the side, and just lay the blue on. Just round and round, lay it on real fast. Don't have to work slow here. Just work at your own pace. And as you know, this is for many people, and some people work very fast and some people work very slow. So you go at your own pace and pause me whenever you need to, so that this is perfect for you, perfect time for you to do this. Just get a color wash on here, the whole thing. I'm not being at all careful, as you can see. kind of staying away from that beautiful, beautiful star that I have a little tiny bit. That is intentional. When you get going with color, you're going to want to do more. I'll promise you that. You can do this whole thing because remember I showed you how each color has 3 colors in it? So if I were to work and I didn't have my dark blue, if I were to push real hard with this light blue, I'd be just fine. I wouldn't have to worry about that at all. What I'm going to do next, because I do have a darker blue, is I'm going to get in real close here. Again, you can see I'm not doing heavy pressure. It doesn't need heavy pressure. There is so much pigment in this dark blue that I can just push it on in its own good time. And I want to stay away from the middles now. I'm staying away from all of the middles with my dark blue. Or if you're, like I said, if you're going to use that same pencil and you push harder, then just stay away from the middles with your color pencil. Dance around that pretty thing that we made there. Pretty little pattern. And up against the tree, do pretty dark there. Push it in. Leave some white areas in the middle. Because that is, in color pencil world, that is the area that you want to have be differentiated. And I can go around this as many times as I want to or need to, as can you. But I want those darker bits on the outside edge, and I also want it on the edge of the tree and any other place that seems to like have a reflection or have a shadow. You see how that pigment is picking up? Oh, luscious. And I can, like I said before, we can go around this as many times as we want. But let's take a minute and get these two blended together a little better with my light blue. So you see what I'm doing? Again, it's broad circular motion now, blending the darker blue and the lighter blue. And this becomes a whole nother color. Ooh, it's so pretty. Especially trying to stay real light in these lighter areas. Now, you can shrink them up as much as you want, you know this. Like if you want to just wash over that so it's not so delineated from the rest of it, so that it kind of blends in a little better. You know the look you're going for, okay? So, and I think maybe I'd like that to be not so different anymore. So I'm pushing the color around. And my friend, the white one, is going to come in handy with this too. You see, I'm going right over the shadow that I made with my pencil, right along the edge there. And I'm changing the color of it into more of a gray and having some blue tint to it. And then I can go over this again and get even more divots out when I put my white on here. And again, in a broad circular motion, changes this up. Fun, fun, fun. See what's happening when I add the white? And I hope you are too. I hope you're working right along with me and being astounded like I am at how the white just blends. And if you have a colorless blender or Gamsol, that is a product that also blends color pencil quite nicely. But it changes the whole thing up, adding this white. And I know you can see I'm working quite quickly, and that's all right. I'm doing this partly because I know you, you have things to do. And your husband might want dinner like mine. There we go. Get as close as I can. Oh my goodness, this is so, it always amazes me how pretty this is. I'm so glad you let me do a color lesson with you. The more you go over it, the fewer divots you're going to have here. Wow, is that the night sky or what? So pretty. I might not like that quite as well as I thought I would. That seems so strange that it's kind of a square, but pretty, pretty, pretty. All right, so I want to do something with these cute little ornaments that we have, or lights. So I've already added my shading to this, but now I'm going to add a little bit of a color, and I want to add a couple of different colors. So this one I'm doing pink, but you can see, careful, Emmy, there you go. You can see that this is just going to have a blush of pink. I'm not doing all of them, just some of them. And you might find this color scheme will come in handy, or you might decide, you know, you've got some other colors in there. Maybe you got some red, not sure. I'm going to get my white out again so that I can smudge it around and spread it around. And then I'm going to go for my orange and put my orange in a few of these. Trying to leave a little white area again, like I did before. Just pushing up to it. And then when I roll it around, it will be lighter in that one area. So that's really what I'm trying to do. Great. So the next thing I want to do is work on this outside area. And that's why I brought my pens. So I've got an assortment. I've got red, and I'm going to do some of these little light red. And then I'm going to do some other shades too. I've got some blue and orange and green. And I think they'll be real festive. And this is a festive thing for us, isn't it? No matter if you celebrate or not, everybody likes to have certain times of the year where it's a little darker out, be a little more bright. You see, I'm just putting them on this color red, just random. Much like Christmas tree lights, huh? There, my red is handy in case I want to do any more. Grab my blue, and get a few on in blue. Ooh, how pretty. It's quite dark. And switching shades, I have this kind of an orange color. Is that pretty? Mine are pretty small. I imagine yours are too. So it's just a touch of color. And that's why I went for the finest tip markers that I happen to have. Something bright. If you had yellow, that would be quite lovely too, wouldn't it? Yellow would be beautiful. So that is it. I am thinking that I will use a bright color, and I might even be able to use it in here all the way around like this. Just in these little spots here. I think my color pencil is sharp enough. And gold seems like a very good idea. I would urge you to work much more slowly than I am, okay? Because I want to keep this under control for you. So I'm working much more quickly than I hope you are with your beautiful card. It's turning out so nice. I love it. And I think I want to give this to everybody in my family. So I'm going to be making several of these while, you know, we have short days now, no matter where you are in this hemisphere. And so I think, well, while we're watching a show or something in the evening, or watching the snowfall, I will probably take the time to colorize some more of these for my family. Everybody appreciates a handmade card. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had a good time. I hope you really enjoyed what we did. And next week, as you know, we're going to be making holiday ornaments. So I will show you, and they're out of paper, but I think you'll do just fine. And I love that you're subscribing. Thank you. I love that you're sharing this with your friends, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you. This is Emmy, and happy holidays.